hate Diego. That dude does not even know how to use a microscope.
Oh, and you do?
I played a scientist in an orange juice commercial. I do a lot of commercials.
Javi, you just gotta let it go.
Oh, you hate them just as much as I do. You're gonna tell me it didn't drive you crazy the way they were rubbing our divorce on our faces?
Yes, but planning this charity event has made me realize there are bigger problems in the world than those jerks. I'm in a really zen place right now. I even downloaded a meditation app, and it has a gong that goes off every time you need to meditate. I just haven't figured out how to shut it off. It goes off a lot. Sometimes in the middle of the night. That actually gets really stressful. But the point is, you've got to let go of this Diego and Kate thing. Everyone else has.
Oh, really? Hey, Mimi. Kate and Diego.
Kate and Diego? Oh, they are human garbage. I mean, they come over to our house, talk to our makeup lady? Oh, hell no.
That's the fire I was looking for.
Is anybody else concerned I'm the level-headed one here?
Well, frankly, I don't think it's healthy to be level-headed about Kate. I mean, she's always trying to one-up you. You get a part on a show.
She gets her own show.
You get a shampoo commercial.
She starts her own shampoo line.
You marry your sexy co-star.
She marries her even sexier co-star.
Oh, hey. Diego's not sexier than me, and he's way older.
Yeah, but he's got that thing, that...
It's like...
Oh, that man is like... Yummy, 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 yummy.
And I'm not... Yum, 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 yum.
No.
Eva, I feel like we need to have a wind machine up here.
We
After
do.
seeing
I need a wind
I
machine.
mean, I feel like you always, do you now travel with a perma wind machine after shooting the show?
Exactly. You can't have a good telenovela without a wind machine and breakaway wine bottles.
Of course. The show is so funny, and you are a genius at physical comedy, which is such a huge part of the role. And you're the executive producer. Is there anything you don't do on the show?
I don't sing. Well, we have a musical episode that comes up, and the whole point of the musical episode is Ana Sofia doesn't sing, and they derive that from my life because I don't sing, and every single person on this cast can sing. But no, we developed this idea. I had this idea in my head. I was a big fan of Soap Dish, and I was a big fan. You guys are too young to know what that is.
Oh, I know what it is.
I was a big fan of a soap in the 70s with Billy Crystal. I was on a soap opera. I was on Young and the Restless and General Hospital. And I thought, oh my God, it'd be so funny to do a behind-the-scenes show of a soap opera, but instead of a soap, it should be a telenovela because they're heightened and they're more dramatic. And we found these amazing two writers who knocked it out of the park. And I didn't develop it for me. I was developing it in my production slate. And once I read it, I was like, oh my God, I am going to have to play Ana Sofia because she was amazing. And I've always wanted to do physical comedy. I love physical comedy. And it was just full of it. The script was full of it. The world I had never seen. I feel like if you like Housewives, you will love telenovela, because it's like Gabby on steroids. Like she's 10 times crazier. And I really got to, spread my comedic wings, which I didn't get to do on Housewives because it was really a dramedy. And towards the end, we leaned more into the drama part of it. So this was a lot of fun to do.
How involved are you with all the storylines?
Oh, super involved.
Super involved.
There's not a storyline, a prop, an actor. There's nothing that happens that I don't touch. I'm so specific about the tone of the show because we're really honoring and applauding the genre of telenovelas. So when we started the show, I was like, we're not making fun of them. We are actually showing we're talking about the people who make a telenovela. So it's a normal workplace comedy with a crazy dysfunctional family at the heart of it. I play the star of the Spanish soap who doesn't speak Spanish. So I'm everybody's way in. I'm a fish,
in fairness,
fish out of
if
water.
you speak really slowly, she understands a few things, right? I mean,
She's learning. She learns
yes.
in the process. But that's how I grew up. I grew up not speaking Spanish, and I was always the one in the room going, oh, "What did they say?" Like I didn't get a lot of stuff, and so I have since learned. But you don't have to speak Spanish. You don't need to know what a novella is to get this show because it's just we deal with universal themes of any workplace.
Where do you guys get these very telenovela-specific storylines from? I mean, do you have consultants that have worked on telenovelas that can say, like, oh, this is a regular thing that happens?
Always. Well,
Always?
you can watch. The great thing about telenovelas is you don't have to speak Spanish to understand what's going on. You're like, that's the bad guy. That's the good guy.
They're very emotional.
That's the girl, yeah. But Jen Carlos, who plays Javi, he is a big novella star. He's a big pop star in Latin in the Latin world. Amaudi grew up with novellas, but yeah, we have a great diverse writing staff. We watched a lot of novellas, but again, we're not really in the telenovela. We're in our workplace, which is like 30 Rock.
Was the late night.
Yeah, or The Office, or any other, we could be in a dentist office and you would still get every single episode.
And speaking of diversity, I think it's really amazing that, all this talk about diversity, and here you are creating and casting a show that is not full of blonde white people. So was that something that was also
We
incredibly
do have
important to
Zachary
you?
Levi. He's white. Zachary Levi's white. I know, right? Chuck.
Well, he's bearded.
Yeah, I know. I kept telling, I was like, Zach, you got to come play this part. And he's like, hell yeah. No, I've not set out to plant my flag in Latinohood. It just is organic to this environment, as all shows should be. I mean, I think when you try to stunt cast diversity, it shows. It looks like an Abercrombie and Fitch poster. You know what I mean? You're like, there's the Asian, there's the black girl, there's the Hispanic, and I feel like that's always forced. In this world, it's organic. Everybody would be Hispanic in this world. It's so funny because one of the presidents of one of the Spanish networks is white. And so we're like, oh, let's make the president of the network white. And they're like, great. So it works. It's a funny show. It's not a Latin show. It's not a Latin comedy. It's a comedy. It's a big fat comedy that everybody can enjoy and relate to. But it is great that we've been able to mine talent from spaces that aren't normally tapped.
And that's what I was referring to,
Yeah,
is that it's
yeah.
really awesome to see these people have jobs, like good
Yeah,
jobs.
great jobs.
What happens to your character going forward?
Oh my gosh.
She finds peace and love and moves to an ashram.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
It ends happily ever after. Oh my gosh, no. There's so much drama. Every episode, at the heart of it, Ana Sofia is insecure and vulnerable and fragile from this divorce that she had, a really horrible public divorce. And then in the pilot, her ex-husband comes back to work with her, and
as her love interest.
It's as her love interest on the show. So she has to kiss and make love to him on camera, and then so it's very War of the Roses. Very funny things that happen. In this particular episode of the clip you saw, which airs next Monday, we have a charity event, and our rival telenovela shows up. So you guys remember Battle of the Network Stars? You guys don't remember that, but it's a bit of
there's
battle.
like total silence.
Yeah, Battle of the Network Stars. They used to get different shows to like wipe out, like that show Wipe Out, and they would compete against each other. We should bring that back too, by the way.
That was a great show.
It was so
It's
good
really
to be
awesome.
like, John Ritter against, whoever.
Yeah.
And it was so it's kind of that episode where we face our rival telenovela and we kind of bond together as a family to conquer them. And another episode we have where Mimi has to give the sex talk to her kids. So we help her out in our way. And it's a disaster because like everybody has a different view of birds and the bees. So again, dealing with motherhood, love, loyalty, workplace
Aging,
competition, ageism. As I've taken her place, the young one's nipping at my heels to take my place. So I'm like, no. So it's so fun. It's just a lot of fun. The reviews have been amazing. I couldn't even. The joy did not fit in my body, and the proudness that I feel for developing something like this. I was on the greatest show in the last decade of television, and I knew I was going to go back to television. I love the medium of television. Television is at its greatest right now. And I kept comparing projects to Housewives, and I remember agents going, "You can't do that. That was like 1 in a million." I'm like, "I know I can. I want something as good as Housewives." And when this came along, it's funnier because it's a true sitcom, and I'm so proud of it, and it was the right thing to come back to television with.
And as the executive producer, how exacting are you? Okay, that answers it.
I'm really exact. I directed a couple of the episodes, and I'm the producing director on the show, so I oversee all of the directing. But yeah, I mean everything, camera choreography, like the camera's too low, you got to raise it up. We don't want this move. We don't like these moves in our show. The tone of the show is very specific because you walk a fine line between what we're talking about of like silly things that people can relate to. We said, crazy situations, but really great, solid moments that we all get to have. So Yeah, I mean, to the lines, to alt lines, we have a great group of actors. So when you're in a comedy, you have to be able to improv and throw new lines at each actor all the time, and they're all great. And I'm like, oh, try this. Oh, that was funny. Let's do that again. You know what? Let's try it differently. And everybody's great. We have an amazing crew. But you need a vision on a show. That's what made Housewives so great. Was Mark Cherry
Had
was
a
like,
very specific
yeah,
vision.
he would like the coffee cup should be like this, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay. But same as Shonda Rhimes or J.J. Abrams, they all have very specific visions for what they do, and that's what you need for a successful show.
When this came to you, what about it said to you, like, not only do I want to, what about it resonated with you so much?
You know, in the 1 hour category, in dramas, cable has really put pressure on how networks do dramas. Everybody wants a Game of Thrones. Every network wants their Homeland.
yep.
Every network wants that. But that would never be on broadcast television because of rules and regulations. But they have changed the way they do 1 hour dramas by pushing the envelope and by casting differently and by looking at different sources of stories. But that never happened to comedy. Like comedy's been the same format, you know, joke,
Laugh track.
haha, you know, sitcom, multicam, and nothing has evolved comedy. And so I thought, I want to be in something that moves comedy forward. What is the next evolution of, what's the new device? What's the next voiceover? What's the next mockumentary? And when I read Telenovela, Jess and Chrissy, our writers, created a world that I had never seen on American television in English language. They created characters that were your classic sitcom characters, but yet different enough to be, that's fresh, that's new. The set design, the production design is beautiful on the show. You can see it's the bright colors, they pop. We designed the set to have amazing camera choreography. That's easy to go in and out of rooms, the lighting. I mean, all of that is really important when you're creating the look of a show. And so it was so different that I go, this is what I want to be a part of. I don't want to be in the normal, you know, easy sitcom. I want to be in something new and different and fresh.
And they say, I guess you can fake chemistry, but it's really, really, I mean, you can, right? You always hear stories about like co-stars who detest each other, but you would never know it from watching them. But I mean, you guys really legit, and obviously how many hours a day you spend together, it would be fairly difficult to fake it. Yeah. How did you guys know that it would work chemistry-wise?
Well, when we were casting everybody, me and Chrissy and Jess, the two showrunners, you know, handpicked each person. We had a no asshole policy also. Like, there was a lot of people who have reputations in the industry that I was like,
No, yeah.
not happening. I don't care how good they are as an actor. I need to go to work every day feeling like this is the happiest place on earth. And it was. We had immediate chemistry with everybody. Amaudi's been my friend my entire life for about 20 years. And his character, Rodrigo, is a villain on the show, but he's a really sweet guy in real life, and that's his life story. I developed his character because of Amaudi. He'd always come to me and he's like, why don't we always get the bad guy? He was on Prison Break, and he's always the bad guy. And he's like, I want to be Jennifer Aniston's love interest. And he would never get cast as that. And I was like, wouldn't it be funny if we had a character who's like vegan and rescues animals, has a cat tattoo, you know. And that was Amaudi. And then Alex I've known for 20 years too, and she retired, and we kind of brought her out of retirement to do this role. And Diana and I, we always knew Mimi had to be Anna's Ethel. Like, we were gonna be getting into trouble together, getting out of trouble together, so we immediately bonded. And then the others are such fresh new talent you haven't seen, but so talented. So it's just been a dream cast to be around. I wish the show goes on forever and ever, just because I want to be surrounded by these
people,
these human beings, much less actors.
Okay, and we have to change the topic for 1 second, because I just want to say, I don't know if you guys are aware, but this lady right here does so much. Like, I'm actually in awe of how much charity work you do.
Oh, I was nervous you were going to talk about something else. I was like, wow, I mean,
your boots? What? No.
I was like, what are we talking about?
No, but I guess what motivated you to become? And you were involved even before you were famous. So
yes, yeah. Well,
you know.
The main source or inspiration for my philanthropy is my older sister, Lisa. She is mentally disabled. She was born mentally disabled, and so she was a special needs kid. And she's the oldest, and I'm the youngest, so I was kind of born into her world. She has about a third grade level of learning. She can read, she can write, but she has this like truth about her always. But because of Lisa, we were a very selfless family. Everything revolved around, can Lisa go? Will Lisa enjoy it? You know, we never went to Disneyland early because it
would have been too much for her.
It would be too much
Yeah.
for Lisa, and then we couldn't go to certain restaurants because Lisa wouldn't last long, and so our whole life revolved around that. But we also lived out of community programs. We lived at the Boys and Girls Club every day because they took special needs kids. So as long as we volunteered, Lisa could do a program there. We were at the Salvation Army, and as long as we were volunteers, Lisa could take that class. And so there was always this give and take. Knowing the word volunteerism at a very young age changes you. Like my earliest memories are of Special Olympics. Like my mom made us all volunteer as huggers. You can be a hugger. Aww. And so we would stand at the end of race lines so the kids would run towards you and hug you. And that, like, it still gives me chills knowing the joy that these kids felt because I was standing there. And I was like, that's silly. I'm feel good because you're running towards me. And so that's what my mom instilled in us, and then I would wonder, like, who are these charity people? Like, what does charity mean? Why are we going to feed the poor at Thanksgiving? And that's when I realized, oh, these people need money to do that, and oh, these people need volunteers to do that. So it's important that you teach those lessons young, and that's where all of my philanthropic endeavors stem from.
Is there one specific, we're down to audience questions, but before we go there, is there one specific cause that you want to highlight while you're here?
Oh my God, all of them. All of them. No,
I know you have like, I mean, you read her biography, there's like an entire page. So,
no, I know. No, I
but
do
like
have
one-
Eva Zeros, which is for special needs kids, specifically in San Antonio. It was an after-school program and now has turned into something much bigger. And we help 1,000 families in San Antonio who have kids with special needs or siblings with special needs. And then I have the Eva Longoria Foundation, which focuses on helping Latinas through educational and entrepreneurial programs. And so we do a lot of work all over Los Angeles, California and Texas, and now into Mexico. But just, you know, making sure that, you know, Hispanics are the fastest growing demographic in the United States, but the most uneducated, the least employed. And so if this is the future workforce of America, we need to make sure that they're educated, and so that we are educated. And that's what the Eva Longoria Foundation does. So you can look up more about it if you want.
Big props to you, seriously. Because generally, I mean, you talk to people and they're like, and then you read your bio and you're like, holy shit, wow. That's amazing.
You have more time than you think. Everybody's like, I don't have time, I don't have time. I'm like, you have more time than you think. We have an hour break right now, and I'm like, I gotta go for a run. Like, I pack it in because I need to get it done. Life's so short, so.
Now I'm like, oh, really? A run? Oh.
It's my New Year's resolution.
To run every day?
No, just to burn all the wine I'm drinking.
That's wine in her glass. No, I'm kidding. It's actually not. It is. But it could be. Do we have any questions from the audience?
Hi, I have a question. I'm wondering how you balance producing and acting, and if that was the most difficult part, and if it wasn't, what was the most difficult part in creating this show?
You know, everybody's like, oh, she's an actor turned producer. I was always a producer turned actor. Like, I was always interested in producing and directing. I produced a lot of small comedy shows at the Improv and at the Comedy Store 20 years ago, and then I got into acting. So I've always been fascinated with the business side of acting, and Desperate Housewives was like my film school. I would ask so many questions. I would absorb everything. I'm like, why are you doing that? What lens is that? What's a lens? Why do you do that? What is that? What is that light? Da, 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 da. How much does this cost? And so I've always been aware. And I think it goes hand in hand. I think producing and acting, I think actors should be more aware of what a producer does, and producers should understand an actor's process. I think it works well. It normally doesn't happen that way because you're either a creative person or a business person, but for me, I have both sides equally. So I love multitasking, as you can tell from my bio. If I don't have 10 balls in the air, juggling them, I'm not completely filled. And so doing the show, directing the show, It was I was like I was in heaven. But you have to do it with a good team. Like I couldn't have done it without the two writers of the show, Chrissy and Jess. I couldn't have done it without my producing partner, my entire team. You have to have that structure that allows you to spread your wings and wear many hats.
And just jumping off that question, how are you able to look at yourself objectively?
You know what? I'm not that normal actor who's like, I can't watch myself. I really look at it from technical. I'm like, okay, that joke can be better. But I'm mostly focused on the technical side. Like, we got to move that light. We need more extras. You got to go faster on the pan, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, to me, it's like I'm another person. Even when I'm editing, I'm like, is there a better take of Anna? Because that's a horrible take. As opposed to, like, is there a better take of me? I'll say, we need a different take of Anna. I just completely detach myself.
That's so interesting, because you're right. Most people do say, like,
but I
"Oh my
detach
God,
myself
I can't sit through
in life. Like I live by the 4 agreements. I don't know if you guys ever read that book. And one of the 4 agreements is don't take things personal. So, and I live that way, or don't make assumptions. I never take anything personal. Somebody could be so angry, mad, and I'm like, okay. So I'm saying, how do we fix that? And they're like, we got to do this. I go, great, let's do that. And that is a gift, and it's hard for people to detach themselves from things that they're so personal. Like, this show is my baby, but yet I can still have that removed view of what is the best thing for the show, not
as opposed
for
to
Eva.
like what is the best thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good afternoon, Ernest Robinson, director. Happy New Year. I have a question. I've never heard an actor speak like all about directing and producing. What were your challenges as a director to create a show where the masses could relate to people of color, and at the same time, do you explore other directors, for your show?
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing that I really, diversity means a lot of things. It doesn't just mean people of color. It means women. It means different sexualities. It means different perspectives of life. And what lens do you see life? It could be different than my lens. And we want that diversity in our directors. We want it in the writer's room. The minority in our writer's room is single heterosexual male.
Oh God, I love you, Eva.
I mean, we have a lot of women in our writer's room.
That's amazing.
And there's one single dude who's like,
how did I end up here?
yeah, he loves it, but he's like, we always go, Jamal, what would a normal guy say? And he's like, well, it's so funny because we need his perspective in the writer's room, but at the same time, I love that we have 2 female showrunners. I love that we have Latino writers. I think the mistake you can make in producing is producing for people of color, producing for Latinos. Nobody wants to be hit over the head with a tortilla. I don't want you to tell me that all the time. This is for you. Everything should be for me. And so if you make a show, whether it's a drama or a comedy, it needs to be a good show. Make a good show, and it'll come. People don't talk about Game of Thrones and go, that's an English show. It's a great show. It has drama and great characters and complex storylines, and it's all tied together in this fantasy world, and it's so many things. Empire's not a black show. It's a good show.
Being Mary Jane, an amazing show.
It's a great show. Yeah. I think you have to have a human point of view, and if you deal with human universal issues, like I said, marriage, love, divorce, friendship, loyalty, why did Slumdog Millionaire do well? You don't have to be from India to get that movie. It's a good movie. So I think you have to focus on doing good content, build it, and they will come. The great thing that you can do as a writer is have that lens and perspective, and you color that world in an honest, authentic way. Like I said, we've colored this world through the lens in which, what would a telenovela be? We didn't go, we need a show of 8 Latinos. We didn't reverse engineer that. It really birthed itself organically. But it is nice, I will say, for the network to come to you and go, Eva, you're real, we need some other actors on the show that are not Latino. I mean, that's never said, So it was great to go like, great, we're giving all these jobs to so many people. But I think the main thing, if you're producing, you've got to create. You have to become a writer. Writers have the power in television and in film. So if you're a director, you should start to write.
And we have time for one more question, please.
Hello, Eva.
Hi.
It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
What a particular actor or actress did you look up to when you was growing up? When
You know
was
what?
young?
I didn't grow up with celebrity culture. I'm old, so we didn't have the word celebrity back then. We didn't. I mean, there was like National Enquirer, and on the cover was
Tiger
like,
Beat.
yeah, we had Tiger Beat.
I
That's
mean,
right.
come on.
I got posters from Tiger Beat, but no, it wasn't so obviously prevalent. But so I didn't grow up with looking up to anybody. And my dad was too cheap to buy cable, so we had 3 channels. So we used to watch like the Disney movie and the ABC after school specials. And I didn't grow up wanting to be an actor. I went to college. I got my degree. It wasn't until I was 22, out of college, that I was like, I want to be an actor. I don't know where it came from. So now, though, being in the business, I do appreciate a lot of people and admire what a lot of people are doing. But there's nobody that I go, I want that career, or I want to be that person. I want to be Eva. I want Eva Longoria to create and be. I want Eva Longoria's career. I want to do what she's doing, because I'm creating that for myself. But doesn't mean you can't learn from everybody. But I think most of the people that I learn from are not actors. It's all these amazing producers and writers and directors that I admire. Robert Rodriguez is a good friend of mine who I constantly bug for advice about directing. And then there's some amazing producers. Chuck Lorre, amazing writer, producer that I'll bug and go, so as a comedy, what do you think? You have to surround yourself with people smarter than you, and then you'll make better decisions when you're well educated from people who've been there and done that. The great thing about TV and film right now is it's the wild, wild west. The way people view content. I mean, I'm sure you guys know too. You don't. There's no appointment TV. You don't sit in front of the TV Sunday nights at 9 p.m. I remember on Housewives, if you didn't watch it on Sundays at 9 p.m., you had to wait for the DVD. And that's why we had 30 million viewers. That just doesn't happen anymore. And there's no network loyalty. There's like, I like that show. I'm gonna watch it on the weekend on my iPad. Like you decide when you want to watch something, what you want to watch, and how you want to watch it. And so in that aspect, everybody here can be a content creator. You guys can upload something. You can create something. Content is king. So be content creators, because the distribution channels will constantly change. Yeah.
This is a smart lady, as you can see. She knows of what she speaks. Congratulations. Thank you so much, Eva.
Don't forget to watch
here on the
Telenovela
coldest
on
day.
Mondays. You can also, if you missed it, you can go to the NBC.com or NBC app, and you can watch all 4 episodes and catch up, because it's super funny.
You see her making out with a hot man in the first
I
episode.
make out with a lot of people, but mostly Zachary Levi.